What is up, you guys? You're watching Sergio's Secret. Before I get started with today's video, I'd really appreciate if you guys can give this video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. We're already at 50,000 subscribers. I appreciate each and every single one of you for the love and support. And here's to 100,000 subscribers. So it's going to be classic designer handbags that I don't care for. Now, there's a lot of handbags that I actually see the beauty in them. I could see why they don't work for me, but I can really appreciate them on other people. So like I said, if any of you guys have these bags, if you love these bags, that's great. If you like it, I love it. So take all of my advice with a pinch of salt. I just always get asked cuáles son las bolsas that, you know, I'm not crazy about, that I'm not really in love with. So these are some of the classic handbags that I just personally don't really care for. Some of them I have considered in the past, some of them I haven't, and I'll kind of guide you between one-on-one on each and every single handbag, because I have had some that like I really strongly considered. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll leave the links for all these handbags down below if you're interested, including the jewelry that I'm wearing, and if I can still find this top as well. So let's go ahead and get started. First classic designer handbag that I personally don't care for is gonna be the Chanel wallet on chain. And you're gonna be like, Sergio, Chanel wallet on chain? You love Chanel. Aren't you gonna include the Chanel wallet on chain? For me, I've really considered the Chanel wallet on chain. I'll insert a picture of me actually trying on the Chanel wallet on chain at the Chanel boutique here in Dallas a couple years back. And I've always wanted the Chanel walk because at the time that's what I feel like I could be attainable for me to have. My heart was always set on a classic flap, which I have up there, but I just felt maybe it's a little bit more attainable for me to get the wallet on chain instead of maybe a classic flap, and then, you know, later down the road I could get the classic flap. But I wanted the wallet on chain to have that Chanel feeling without me having to spend a lot of money on a classic flap. So basically buying something to, in the meantime, while I get another Chanel bag. And so, you know, once I kind of like started getting my things together, and whenever I was deciding on purchasing a Chanel handbag, my very first one, I told myself, you know what, just go for the classic flap, because honestly, at the time I had a Saint Laurent wallet on chain. I'm like, you're gonna use your Saint Laurent wallet on chain, there's not really points of having two. And so I ended up going for the Chanel classic flap and the maxi single flap. For me, the reason why I don't care about the Chanel wallet on chain is the drop of the wallet on chain. I think it hits a very long. Even me, that somebody that's about 5'11", it drops very low. And I've seen people that are a little bit on the shorter side. I have one of my friends that's 5'5", and it's just that you can tuck it in. I know you can kind of maneuver the chain, but I just wish that the chain was just a tad bit smaller. Even somebody that's me that's a 5'11" queen, I would just prefer it to maybe just take maybe 2 or 3 inches out, and I feel like it'd be perfect for me. It'd be the perfect size, and it'd be perfect for a lot more people. I feel like the only person that can really think this could work at is one of my primas. She's like 6'3", so this would absolutely work for her, but not everybody has that, you know, supermodel figure where they're 6'3", so I feel like the drop of the strap. And normally I'm not the one to type of complain about the strap length and stuff like that, but for that one I will say is pretty long. And also, like I said, I just didn't care for it because I was gonna buy it as a substitute to, you know, to buy that versus why buy a Chanel classic flap. And I'm glad that I kind of went for the Chanel classic flap in the long run, because it's had multiple price increases versus the wallet on chain. I believe the wallet on chain, when I was looking at it, I think it was still $1980, and I think now it's over $3,000 with tax. So it's went up within $1,000 within the last couple of years. But at the end of the day, I'm so happy with my Chanel classic flap, and I don't really see myself adding a wallet on chain anytime soon. Really pretty, I see the functionality of it, but I just don't like the drop length of it. And if I really want that smaller Chanel bag, I would definitely go for a mini rectangular flap a lot more, a million times more than the Chanel wallet on chain. Then I also have a Chanel classic wallet, which, you know, it's kind of like, you know, you're kind of getting an in-between, which I'd rather buy some than a Chanel wallet on chain. The next handbag that I have really considered is the Hermes Evelyn, and that I don't really care for it as much. So I'll try to see if I can insert the picture of me trying it on at the Hermes store here in Dallas a couple years back when I bought my Hermes H belt. If I do have it, I'll insert here. If not, I'll just insert stock photos of the one that I tried on. I believe it was the larger size of the Evelyn. I remember somebody higher up than me just purchased this Evelyn, and she was just such a boss lady. It looked really good on her, and I said, you know what, I can have that too if I wanted to. And I bought the Hermes belt that day, and I just tried it on, and it was just very do anything for me. I feel like the Hermes Evelyn is a beautiful handbag. I think the Hermes does beautiful colors, but I find that I don't like to use this word as well, because I think this word can be taken very wrong. The bag's a little bit too mature for my style. I know my style is a little bit more elevated than a typical 20-year-old, but for me, I find that the Evelyn was just a little too mature, and it's something that I can definitely see one of my tias wearing. It's something I can see my mom wearing. I can definitely see one of my older friends wearing something like this, but for me, I just felt like the bag definitely was a little bit too mature for my style. Very, very casual with the strap, and then with the style of it, I just felt when I tried it on, I was very, very underwhelmed. I thought I was really gonna like it. I said, oh my god, I'm gonna have an Hermes bag. This is gonna be a bag on my wish list. This is something I could potentially have. And when I tried it on, it didn't really do it for me. And glad that I tried it on, because I probably would have ended up purchasing it on the pre-love market, and I probably would have been very, very disappointed. So I'm glad that that day when I did went to the Hermes store, that I did get to try it on, and I get to try on like a couple of bags. The lady was very, very nice and helpful. But for me, the Evelyn, it's a classic, it's a beautiful handbag. It's a little bit too mature for my tasting. Maybe when I'm 26, 27, or maybe when I become a father and I have like a really pretty stroller, and I have like a Hermes Evelyn, and then my child has like a beautiful Burberry outfit, and I do too. I think that'd be something cute, that'd be a fun moment, or something that my partner would have. For me, I think right now in my very, very early 20s, I don't think an Hermes Evelyn is something that I should have. I'm a beautiful bag, but it's just not my time for it. So I don't really care for the Hermes Evelyn. The next one, which I'm dragging Chanel today. I don't know why I'm coming and dragging Chanel for the girls. The girls said we're dragging Coco Chanel today, so I guess we are. Rest in peace Chanel, rest in peace Karl Lagerfeld. I love you both. Y'all are a good man and woman to all of us in here in the community. Chanel Gabrielle bag. Somebody once told me the Chanel Gabrielle bag's the bottom looks like a tampon, and I haven't been able to take that image off my head ever since. And so now every time I see the Gabrielle bag, it's a beautiful bag. I don't really like how people wear it with like the chains like moved around. I think it looks a little silly. I mean, I think it's really on me. I think it looks a little silly on me. I have tried the Chanel Gabrielle bag on my friend's bag. I just think they looked a little bit silly on me, but she did have the smaller size, so that could also be why. It just looked a little silly on me. I mean, my friend, she rocked it very well. It looked very put together on her, but for me, it just looked a little silly, and it just kind of reminds me of a tampon. Like literally when somebody told me that, I can literally not take that image off my head. Literally when I see it, I literally think of a tampon. Pretty bad, but I don't see the Chanel in it. You know, yes, it's called the Gabrielle bag. Yes, it's a beautiful bag. Yes, it has, you know, incorporations of Chanel in it, but when I see it, I really don't think of Chanel at all. You know, I see the GST tote more as Chanel. I see the DeVille tote more as Chanel. I see the classic flaps, obviously the boy bag, the 19. You can see all those incorporations within Chanel. But something about the Gabrielle bag, I know that they were trying to do something different, but I just don't really see the reminiscent of Chanel in the Gabrielle bag. And like I said, I tried to like it, I tried to get into the gigs, but you know, I just don't care for the Gabrielle bag. I think it's a beautiful bag. I think a lot of people can pull it off very, very well, but me, it just looked a little goofy. It looked a little cheesy, probably because I'm a little bit on the taller side. Hers was obviously the smaller size, so it probably didn't look proportional, but it did look a little goofy on me. But I mean, I think it's a pretty bag, but it's definitely not a classic bag that I would buy. I do consider it one of the classic ranges of Chanel because it's been out for many seasons, and I definitely do see Chanel having the Chanel Gabrielle bag for the next 5 years. It's a beautiful bag, but definitely not for me. Next one is going to be the Goyard St. Louis tote, or St. Louis tote. I have always wanted a Goyard tote. My issue with the Goyard tote is the quality is not there, or like the wear and tear on the back isn't the best. Now for me, I will say, since I do have almost 50 bags in my collection, it's something that now I can consider adding because, and I hate to say this because it sounds so bad that I'm justifying it just because I have 50 bags in my collection. I could add it because I have many bags in my collection that I can rotate it and it won't really get a lot of wear. As a lot of you know that I change my bags out almost every day, 2 or 3 times a day depending. On the weekend, you know, like I said, I may use this bag for brunch, and then if I have to run a bunch of errands, I'll go home and change and then do this. And then when I do my errands, I'll go in and you know, film videos, and then you know, I'll go to a dinner, and then I'll probably wear, you know, this little Tory Burch bag, and then I'll go to the club, and then I'll wear a little small little Coach pillow bag. So I do change my bag very frequently. So for me, if I have told myself, you know what, Sergio, if you do want it, you won't get a lot of wear on it because you have so many bags that you constantly rotate. So the chances of it getting wear very easily is very slim to none, because you won't get a lot of wear on it to begin with. But that's such a bad way to justify a designer handbag. I believe the St. Louis tote, I think, is $1,500, or I think if you want the colored ones, it goes over with $2,000 with tax. It's a beautiful tote. I've always been a big fan of the Goyard print. I do have a Goyard card case, and I do like the quality of it. For me, I just seen so many negative reviews on the YouTube channels, like many people reviewing the Goyard St. Louis tote, and I've seen a lot of people justify it. You know, it's okay, it's Goyard. But for me, I definitely do want something that's more quality, quantity. You know, if I feel like if I do get Goyard, you know, I may get a St. Louis tote, but honestly I would much rather get something else that won't get as much wear on it. I know that the St. Louis tote there's like a version where it has kind of like leathers on the side that is a little bit more, but it seems to hold up a lot better over time. It's a beautiful bag, I love it, but I just can't go down to spending over $2,000 on the St. Louis tote, because for me, I can't justify me having an excuse, okay, you have 50 bags to not, for it won't get wear. It shouldn't have a lot of wear and tear on it to begin with, especially on a bag over $2,000. As much as I really loved, and I've considered this bag so many times, like even when I was in Chicago a week ago, I was at Neiman's and I was like, should I just buy it? Like I just want it. In Dallas we have a Goyard boutique. It's the only Goyard boutique here in Texas. I've thought about it and I just can't bring myself to do it. I just cannot bring myself to do it. And there's other bags that I feel like I would prioritize a little bit more than a Goyard St. Louis tote. I love it. It's a classic. It's a beautiful bag. If any of you guys have the bag, I want to hear your thoughts and your opinions on it down below. Just can't bring myself to do it, guys. It's such a bag that gets a lot of wear very easily. I can't justify it. And I much rather buy like a Chanel DeVille tote or another tote, maybe one from Fendi. If I'm paying that price point, I'd much rather pay you know, $3,500 and get a Chanel DeVille tote that I know would get the nice wear on it and it won't get a lot of wear over time, or even a Gucci monogram tote than a Goyard St. Louis tote. So if you do have a Goyard tote, I would really want to hear your thoughts and your opinions on the tote in general. The next kind of classic collection that I don't really care for is Gucci Marmont. I did talk about this one on my best and worst Gucci handbags to purchase, and I talked about the Gucci Marmont, how I just don't care for it. When I personally bought it, when I gave into Gucci Marmont, I really bought it for the wrong reasons. I bought the belt, I bought the camera bag, I bought a little bit of the Marmont collection, but I bought it and I really felt like a poser. It really felt like it didn't identify with my style. It didn't identify with me as a person. When I carried those items, I just didn't feel complete. I just felt like I'm just not living my authentic self, and it maybe has to do more with myself than the actual Marmont items themselves. I just felt like I just felt like a poser. Like I really did. I was much happy in the other bags that I had in my collection, and it put a bad taste in my mouth. So therefore I sold all my Gucci Marmont. I don't have any Gucci Marmont in my collection. I do have a little bit of Gucci in my collection in general. I actually do quite like Gucci as a brand in general. I just don't care for the Marmont collection. Like I said, if you guys love Marmont, if you like to wear a Marmont belt and you feel happy and it brings a smile on your face, that's good for you. But for me, it definitely didn't. And I told myself, you know, I had a belt from ASOS that's $20 that I still have. It's a Western belt. That brought me more joy than my Marmont belt. What were some of the bags that I had at the time? I had my Saint Laurent Cape bag. I had a Tory Burch McGraw crossbody in this kind of leather. And those bags, and then I had another Gucci bag too that was a Supreme monogram. All those brought me a lot more joy than the Marmont bag. I just felt like I was just like, you know what, it's a hot bag. I should just buy it. Who cares? It's $1,000. Whatever. That was such a bad way to justify. I definitely have had really bad histories in the past. Now I'm a little bit more picky. Now that I have a nice decent collection, I can definitely be a lot more picky on the things that I want, and I can already be like, oh, I already have something like that, I don't really need something. So that's why I don't care for Marmont. I also don't care for the flat bags as well, because I've had friends where on the side of a flat bag, so here I'll show you this one because this is a Michael Kors Soho. So on the flat bags of the Gucci Marmont, sometimes it pokes out a little bit more, and so things can kind of, like if you're driving or you know your bag falls, things can kind of fall off of it. So I definitely want the bag to be a little bit more secure on it, just kind of fall off on the side. For it, one thing I will say that I always liked about the Marmont collection is on the back of the flat bags, they all have a really pretty heart on them. Well, not all of them, but most of them. All the ones that have a little heart in the back, I think is so cute. I think it's so adorable, and I actually quite like it. And you know, I thought about it, you know, I really love the heart, but I can't really bring myself to buy a Gucci Marmont bag anytime soon. If I don't have any Gucci handbags in my collection as of now, but if I were to add one again, it would definitely be a Dionysus bag, or definitely be something from that new denim collection. Yeah, the Gucci Marmont, just a no for me. I know it's a classic bag, I know a lot of people love it, but it just didn't work out for me, and I don't see myself purchasing any Marmont in any variation anytime soon. The next classic bag that I don't really care for is going to be the Dior saddlebag. Now for this one, I have had in the past. Last year I purchased the Dior saddlebag. I'll insert some photographs right here of me wearing the bag. And para me, like, I just feel like that girly, me quería bien, like perra, like I was just feeling myself. But I will say, I literally, guys, I remember when we were going on shutdown, I literally bought it the day before everything shut. Basically, I bought it, right? I remember I unboxed it on Instagram, and one of my friends, Hanan, she was like, nice saddlebag, but where are you wearing it to? And she put the laughing emoji. Saddlebag, I remember I used it a lot in the card logs. If you started following my channel last year, I took it to the little gay grocery store. I took it to my drive-through Starbucks. Like, I did use a little bit the bag, but you know, there was really nowhere to go, so I didn't really get to use the saddlebag. And also on the saddlebag, I just don't like that there's not a placement for the strap on it. On the side of the bag, when you put the strap, over time those metals click around, and so the metal where it had the CD on it, I put it where the C was. In the metal, it just started turning into kind of like a rose goldy color, and it was kind of tarnishing, and so I didn't really like that wear on it. I think that the saddlebag is a really pretty bag. I think it's such a beautiful handbag, and if I were to add one in my collection again, which won't be anytime soon, it would probably be a full leather saddlebag in the larger size without a strap. Or I should have really thought the strap out where it doesn't really get a lot of wear over time, because it does. I don't see myself adding a saddlebag anytime soon. It's a beautiful classic bag. I know people say it's not. I mean, it's been around since, you know, 20 years ago. I know that they just reissued it a couple years back, but you know, the saddlebag has always kind of been talked about, even before it got reissued by Maria Grazia. In my opinion, I think that the saddlebag is a classic bag. I think it's a beautiful bag. If you have it, more kudos to you. I think it's such a beautiful bag. If I were to do it again, if I were to go back in time and look at things, I would have not purchased a strap. I would have purchased just the saddlebag. And since I just purchased the saddlebag and it didn't get a lot of wear through the strap, I would probably still have the saddlebag in my collection, maybe, question mark. I'm not sure, because I'm not a big fan of monogram as much as I once did. Like, I would still somewhat have it, or I would have had more of a longer time frame than. I believe I sold my saddlebag in November, I want to say. No, I sold my saddlebag in September. I bought it right when everything shut down, and I sold it in August. I didn't even have that much time with it, and so that money that I had from the saddlebag, I also sold my Louis Vuitton pochette, accessories, and I think I sold maybe another bag. And with all that money, I ended up putting it towards my Chanel 19 handbag. So I'm more happy with my Chanel 19 handbags that I sold those items to put it away. And one thing, I did get a really great deal on the saddlebag set. I think I only really took like $150 loss, and I got to wear it a little bit. And then for the Louis Vuitton pochette accessories, I think I broke even on it, or I just made a little bit on it, so it kind of, everything kind of like worked out at the end, which I'm super blessed with. And that's why I love going to Fashion File, because Fashion File, for me, she's a good woman and they quote me really, really well. So the saddlebag, you know, it's a classic bag, but I just don't really care for it. It's kind of classic bag that I don't really care for is the Valentino ROCKSTUD tote. So when I mean the tote, I mean this one in particular right here. And the reason is because it is smooth leather and with those rock studs, and the bag is so malleable. If you go on the pre-love market and you get to actually see the pictures of the bag it literally like flops on each other. I wish that the Valentino ROCKSTUD, and I do think that the ROCKSTUD is a classic line for Valentino in general. I don't care what people say. Some people love ROCKSTUD, some people don't. And when I think of Valentino, I really do think of the ROCKSTUD, regardless if they're the smaller ones or they're the newer ones in the kind of XL size now through Valentino. I still think that the ROCKSTUD is a very classic collection. So the ROCKSTUD tote is just something that, you know, I have considered buying for my mom. I maybe have considered a small one in the past, because you can get a really great deal with them on the pre-love market. And I think that they do fun colors in the Valentino ROCKSTUD line in general, or they just do kind of interesting ones throughout every season and every year. And so I definitely have thought about it, but can't get past the super slouchiness of it and how smooth of the leather is. Even in the pre-love market, I get to see how very easy you can get wear on it. So the Valentino ROCKSTUD tote is definitely going to be a no for me. It's a classic bag, it's very beautiful, but it's just super slouchy for me, to the point where it would just kind of drive me nuts and it would drive me crazy. So therefore, that's why I really don't care for the Valentino ROCKSTUD tote. And then the last designer classic handbag that I don't care for, like I said, this is not really a lot. Like I said, I really do see the joy and the beauty of a lot of handbags. I can really see if it doesn't work out for me, I can definitely see the next person. But these are just some bags that I just personally don't care for. And it's going to be the Stella McCartney Big Falabella bag. Now the Falabella line I do like in general. I think Falabella is very classic for Stella McCartney. It's very her brand. I do like a lot of the smaller ones. Like they have this really pretty one for I believe $4.95 or $4.98. I think it's so beauty. I definitely have thought about adding it into my collection. Yeah, I think the Falabellas in the smaller sizes are cute and adorable. Once you start getting into the bigger Falabellas, I just don't really care for it because it's just, like I said, the ROCKSTUD one, it's just super slouchy. It's kind of all over the place, like the hardware, like it's just so much going on that I feel like I just can't get aboard on the Falabella train. And so I wish that maybe Stella McCartney maybe did more of a sturdier leather that kind of is the Falabella, but it's still nice, it's still malleable, but it just had a little bit more structure. And when people say that the Falabella is kind of faux leather, for me it feels more fabric, the texture. I don't know, for me, I've always thought it's more of a fabric bag. Some people always said it's vegan leather. I mean, maybe, but I've always thought about it maybe as a more fabric handbag, the way I feel it and the way, you know, it feels to my hand. It's really pretty. I definitely do prefer the smaller ones, and I would actually consider getting a smaller one because, you know, my name's Sergio, Stella, Sergio, I think it kind of goes. But for me, the larger ones, I just can't get aboard with. So yeah, guys, these are going to be some classic designer handbags that I just cannot get aboard on, or I have had in the past that I just don't see myself purchasing. If there's any classic handbags that you don't care for, I would definitely love to hear it down below. You guys already know how I feel about Louis Vuitton, so that's why I didn't even care to mention them in this video, because I just feel like it would just be repetitive. If you do want to see why I don't care for Louis Vuitton, I'll insert that video link down below. And yeah, I want to hear your thoughts and your opinions on classic designer handbags that you don't care for, because definitely do want to hear the TO down below, guys. And if you had any bad experiences with a classic designer handbag, like a Chanel Classic Flap, or maybe an Hermes Birkin, or maybe a Louis Vuitton Speedy, I would definitely love to hear it down below. I want to say thank you each and every single one of you for watching this video. I love each and every single one of you. I post a video on contemporary and designer fashion daily on the channel, so I would appreciate if you guys could come back and enjoy more videos from me. And I have a bunch of fun videos throughout the channel. I'll leave the links for all the lines down below. Thank you so much for mirando mi video. Los quiero mucho con todo mi corazón, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye guys, and take care.